time ago. I can still remember how that music used to make me smile.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog, was a good friend of mine. KDWB, WDGY.
It was the golden era of AM radio, and for generations of Twin Cities teenagers, the time can be defined by two powerhouse radio stations, KDWB and WDGY. In tonight's Extra, a trip back in time with your favorite DJs and your favorite music.
WDGY and KDWB ruled the rock and roll airwaves from the late 50s to the late 70s. And along the way, their battle for listeners spawned one of the greatest radio rivalries in Minnesota history. KARE 11's Boyd Hupert has this musical blast from the past.
The most commercial-free music.
Every day.
Every hour.
Guaranteed.
In the flick of a dial, a generation has been born.
93X.
For whom the sound of music on the radio has always been
KSTP-FM.
Static-free, in perfect stereo,
On my way to see my friends.
on concert quality FM.
92 KQRS.
Today's best country K102.
Poor kids.
WDGY.
The WDGY Jim Dandy Show.
KDWB is the boogie capital of the Twin Cities.
What today's teens missed can only be described as the greatest radio rivalry in Twin Cities history.
KDWB with Bob Lang, Johnny Canton, Sean, Lady Banana, super hit number 3.
A top 40 assortment of rock and roll, one-upsmanship, and dirty tricks played out in AM mono on 1130 WDGY and 63 KDWB.
7:30 on the Rob Sherwood Show.
I went to it like a gladiator to an arena. I wanted to kill him.
Disc jockey Rob Sherwood represented both the depth of the rivalry and the contrast between the combatants.
They had haircut code at WDGY.
A cardigan-clad Rob Sherwood at WDGY in 1968, a year before he was offered a trip around the world to leave WDGY.
You know, I got to tell you about something you should be interested in.
Rob Sherwood, after his arrival at KDWB.
My God, I think I went a whole winter without wearing anything but shorts and moccasins. There was a lot more freedom at KDWB.
It's what they did with that freedom that reverberates to this day.
Under the warm of 63.
Like the time in 1959 when a commercial for a mysterious new product showed up on WDGY.
Here on the Dick Driscoll Show from WDGY Radio.
DJ Dick Driscoll remembers hearing the ads on stations all over the Twin Cities.
Hey folks, we got a new sponsor today, Formula 63. And I understand it's a real cure, and you got to try it.
They were still reading the ads for Formula 63 when days later the free samples showed up at Snyder drugstores, packed not with ointment, but with propaganda for their brand new rival, KDWB.
Oh, God, no, don't do the commercial. It's a fraud. It's KDWB.
And on it went, WDGY accusing KDWB of speeding up its turntables to inflate its record count.
KDWB with over 90% music this hour.
Each station accusing the other of stealing its promotions.
It's WDGY. You will choose.
If they thought that we were at some place, they'd come right behind us, and sometimes both stations would be there handing out prizes to the kids.
When the Beatles came to town in 1965, the rivalry turned to an all-out war.
Yes.
WDGY deftly scoring the press conference, its mic flag standing tall in front of the Fab Four.
We had to get KDWB in there somewhere.
KDWB Sam Sherwood couldn't stand it.
So I told my disc jockeys, I said, before the press conference, you guys get every front seat in that row. And when you ask a question, you say, KDWB wants to know.
This is George from WWW.
Finally, John Lennon get up. Somebody else asked the question. They said, but does KDWB want to know that?
The night Chicago died.
The rivalry ran hot and cold into the 1970s. Some would say the same for the quality of the music.
Johnny Kent.
Just a yakking at you on the radio.
During the worst of it, Johnny Canton remembers some sage advice from one of his WDGY managers.
Once you get totally sick of that song, that's when our listeners are really going to starting to like it.
Having my baby. Perhaps never stop liking it. Remember this voice?
Hi, Twin Cities. How are you? 403 with a true Don Blue. This is like the Waka Waka song. Waka Waka.
KDWB's most popular DJ from the 70s is still on the air.
Don Blue in the morning. Third Eye Blind!
As entrenched as that bridge after 2 decades doing morning drive in San Francisco, but proud to have given his 20s to the radio rivalry.
It was just the best time ever.
It still brings him recognition in his 50s.
I get calls here all the time from people that are either have moved to San Francisco or are on vacation, and they hear Don Blue on the air, and they call up and they go, Are you the true Don Blue from Minneapolis?
KDWB, I am the true Don Blue, and I have it for you.
Don Blue is a survivor. Little else of that infamous AM battle remains.
Nobody, I don't think, really realized that FM would take over the way it did.
KDWB. True, KDWB successfully made the top 40 transition to FM, but Channel 63 withered. For a time, even died. Its Woodbury Tower field dismantled for an office building, just as Ouija's towers in Burnsville were raised for an apartment complex. Its format switched to country, then sports talk.
On the leader, on the fan.
Its storied call letters changed to K-Fan. But even that wasn't the end of it. For today, the old AM channel 63 has been reborn in Spanish. And in a delicious bit of irony, renamed WDGY.
6:30 WDGY, it doesn't fit. That was brutal. Oh, God. I had to go right into therapy right away.
Beyond that, what exists today is a generation of middle-aged teens who need only the tickle of an old song or a familiar voice
I am the true Don Blue.
to take them back to the days of AM Gold and a black and blue rivalry.
Ouija hoppin' jumpin' springtime.
Rock of the Twin Cities, KDWB.
Boyd Hooper,
Afternoon Delight.
KARE 11 News.